You've probably noticed something strange happening in the dating world. More men are simply walking away, not because they hate women, not because they've given up on love, but because they've done the math, looked at the cost-benefit analysis of modern dating, and decided the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And the reaction to this quiet exodus has been louder than anyone expected. Articles asking where all the good men went. Think pieces about why men won't commit. Social media posts demanding to know why men aren't approaching anymore. The panic is real, and it's revealing something most people don't want to admit. The game only works when men keep playing. For decades, the social contract was clear. Men pursue. Women select. Men compete for attention, resources, status, and the privilege of being chosen. Women hold the power of choice and filter through options until they find someone worthy. This wasn't controversial. It was just how things worked. But that contract had a hidden assumption. That men would always keep chasing. That no matter how many times they got rejected, ghosted, used for free meals, or told they weren't good enough, they'd wake up the next day and try again. The system required men to stay in the game. And for a long time, they did. But something changed. Social media gave men access to raw, unfiltered data about what women actually think. Dating apps turned romance into a swipe-based economy, where the top 10 of men get 90 of the matches. The cost of dating exploded. The rules became more complex. The risk of saying the wrong thing, moving too fast, moving too slow, being too available, not being available enough, increased exponentially. And men started asking a question that the old contract never prepared for. Why am I doing this? What's the actual return on investment here? And for a growing number of men, the honest answer was uncomfortable. This isn't worth it anymore. Let me be clear. This isn't about blaming women for having standards. This isn't about men being entitled to relationships. This is about observing a pattern. When you make something too costly, too risky, too exhausting, people stop participating. And that's exactly what's happening. Men are opting out, not loudly, not with manifestos or protests, quietly. They're deleting the apps, they're stopping the dimmes, they're saying no to blind dates. They're investing their time, money, and energy into hobbies, careers, friendships, and peace. And the system that relied on them chasing is starting to crack. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud. The panic isn't about men being gone. It's about men being content without women. For years, the narrative was that men need women more than women need men. That men are desperate, lonely, incomplete without a relationship. And maybe that was true when men had no other options for connection, purpose, or validation. But the modern man has options. He has communities online. He has hobbies that fulfill him. He has career goals that give him purpose. He has friendships that provide emotional support. And increasingly, he has the self-awareness to realize that a bad relationship is worse than no relationship. That's the part that terrifies the system. Men aren't suffering without women. They're thriving. Let me tell you about a guy named Ryan. At 28, Ryan was exactly what dating advice told him to be. He worked out. He had a good job. He dressed well. He approached women in person, swiped on apps, asked friends to set him up. He did everything right. And for 3 years he got breadcrumbed, ghosted, led on, and friend-zoned. He spent thousands of dollars on dates that went nowhere. He invested emotional energy into women who were talking to 5 other guys at the same time. He followed all the rules. Be confident but not arrogant. Be interested but not desperate. Be assertive but not aggressive. Text back quickly but not too quickly. Show effort but don't try too hard. And after 3 years of playing the game perfectly and losing anyway, Ryan made a decision. He stopped. He didn't announce it. He didn't write a bitter post or blame women. He just quietly deleted the apps, stopped asking women out, and redirected his energy. He started training for a marathon. He learned guitar. He focused on his side business. He spent weekends hiking with friends instead of swiping through profiles. And something unexpected happened. He became happier, not because he hated women, but because he stopped letting his happiness depend on external validation from them. 6 months into his new life, Ryan ran into an ex-girlfriend at a coffee shop. She asked why he wasn't dating. He said he was taking a break. She laughed and said he'd be back, that no man can stay single for long. Ryan smiled and said maybe, but internally, he knew the truth. He wasn't coming back, because for the first time in years, he felt free. That story is playing out across millions of men right now. And the reaction from women has been fascinating. At first, indifference, then curiosity, then concern, then panic. Because when men stop chasing, the power dynamic shifts in ways nobody prepared for. Women who are used to having dozens of options suddenly notice the options decreasing. The high-value men who used to compete for their attention are gone, focusing on themselves instead. The average guys who used to provide free validation and attention have stopped replying. The dating pool is shrinking, and the men who remain are either the top one who have unlimited options, or the bottom tier who will take anything. The middle, the solid, stable, emotionally available men who would have made great partners. They're the ones walking away, and nobody knows how to get them back. Here's where it gets interesting. The typical response to men opting out has been to shame them. Articles calling them immature, commitment-phobic, afraid of strong women. Social media posts mocking men who choose video games over dating. Think pieces diagnosing them with Peter Pan syndrome. But shaming only works if the person being shamed cares about your opinion. And increasingly, men don't. They've been called trash, toxic, useless, and unnecessary for so long that the words lost their sting. You can't shame someone into chasing you. You can't insult someone into wanting you. And the more the narrative pushes that men are the problem, the more men shrug and say, fine, I'll just stay over here then. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. Dating apps are seeing a decline in male users. Fewer men are approaching women in public. Fewer men are asking women out at work, at the gym, at social events. The ones who do approach are either extremely confident or extremely desperate, and there's no middle ground. Women are noticing that the quality of matches has dropped, that the guys who message them are lower effort, that conversations feel transactional, and they're blaming the apps, the algorithm, the culture, everything except the most obvious explanation. The good men left. They didn't disappear. They didn't die. They just stopped playing a game that was rigged against them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern dating was optimized for female choice and male competition. Women got to filter through unlimited options, while men fought for scraps of attention. That model works as long as men believe they have a shot. But once men realize the game is unwinnable for most of them, they stop playing. And when they stop playing, the entire system collapses. Because the economy of attention only works if there's an endless supply of men willing to give it. The moment men start withholding their attention, their effort, their resources, and their validation, the power balance shifts. And it's shifting faster than anyone expected. Now let me be clear about what this isn't. This isn't men becoming misogynists. This isn't men giving up on love. This isn't men deciding to hurt women out of spite. This is men making a rational choice based on incentives. They looked at what modern dating requires versus what it offers, and they decided the deal isn't worth it. That's not hate. That's economics. When you raise the cost and lower the value, people stop buying. Men aren't angry, they're indifferent. And indifference is far more dangerous to the system than anger ever was. Because angry men can be shamed or argued with. Indifferent men just walk away and don't look back. So what happens next? Honestly, nobody knows. This is unprecedented. For all of human history, men competed for women. It was biological, social, economic. The idea that men would just stop competing was unthinkable, but it's happening. And the longer it goes on, the more men realize they don't miss it. They don't miss the rejection. They don't miss the games. They don't miss the anxiety of wondering if they said the right thing. They don't miss spending money on strangers who weren't that interested anyway. And the longer they stay out of the game, the harder it becomes to convince them to come back. Here's what I think is really going on. For the first time in history, men have access to purpose, community, and contentment without needing a relationship. Previous generations of men needed marriage to have sex, companionship, social status, and a clean house. Modern men can get sex casually or not at all without shame. They can get companionship from friends and online communities. They can gain status through career or hobbies. They can hire a cleaner or learn to cook. The incentives that used to push men toward relationships have evaporated, and the cost of relationships has skyrocketed. So men are doing what any rational actor does. They're exiting the market. And the reaction, the panic, the articles, the think pieces, all of it proves one thing. The system needed men more than men needed the system. As long as men kept chasing, women had infinite options and infinite power. But the moment men stop chasing, the power disappears. And nobody knows how to fix it. Because you can't force men to want something. You can't legislate attraction. You can't shame desire into existence. The only way to bring men back is to make the game worth playing again. And so far, nobody's willing to do that. Here's my question for you. Are you seeing this shift in real life? Do you know men who've stopped dating entirely? Do you know women who are frustrated that quality men aren't approaching anymore? Drop a comment and tell me what you're seeing. And if this resonated with you, hit subscribe for more content that talks about the patterns everyone notices but nobody wants to say out loud. Modern women panic when men stop chasing, because the game was never designed to work without them.